Belize votes to take its long-standing border dispute with Guatemala to the ICJ.
CARICOM chairman concludes third round of consultations on Venezuela.
CARICOM foreign ministers slated for key discussions in Grenada. I am Michelle Nurse.
And I am Tusankin English Francis with the details of the CARICOM news highlights for 10th May 2019. Chief Elections Officer of Belize, Ms. Josephine Tamai, said a majority voted in favor of taking the country's decades-old border dispute with Guatemala to the International Court of Justice for settlement. Ms. Tamai announced the results of the May 8th referendum late Wednesday evening, which revealed a moderate voter turnout.
As the Chief Elections Officer, I hereby certify that in pursuance to Section 7.3 of the Belize Territorial Dispute Referendum Act 2019, the results of the referendum taken in the entire country of Belize on 8 May 2019 is as follows. The total number of ballot papers counted is 96,417. Total votes cast for yes is 53,388. The total votes cast for no is 43,029. As a result, the majority of voters in the entire country have approved the proposition for the referendum on the territorial dispute.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Dean Barrow, expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the referendum.
I must also, and particularly, indeed principally, thank the people of Belize for voting emphatically yes to the question posed by the referendum. Naturally, I believe it is the right decision for our country, and so I think congratulations on a most historic occasion. I believe we are well embarked on a course that will ultimately put an end to this claim and allow Belize to proceed in complete freedom with all its territory intact and in the spirit of good neighborliness with the Republic of Guatemala.
The CARICOM Secretariat was invited by the government of Belize to mount an election observation mission. Mr. Ian Brown of Barbados led the mission, which included electoral officials from Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, Guyana, and St. Lucia. Members of the CARICOM Secretariat offered support.
Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Timothy Harris of St. Kitts and Nevis, has reiterated CARICOM's keen interest in bringing a peaceful resolution to the crisis in Venezuela. On Tuesday, May 7th, he led a high-level delegation to the third ministerial meeting of the International Contact Group on Venezuela, which was held in San Jose, Costa Rica. The delegation included the CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, and CARICOM Assistant Secretary General for Foreign and Community Relations, Ambassador Colin Granderson. Prime Minister Harris said that CARICOM wanted to be an honest broker in the crisis. The chairman said ultimately, neither of the two sides could sustain their particular position, and added that the Venezuelan crisis was at a very critical point with the recent escalation of tensions. He said that it was time to put the people of Venezuela first. The International Contact Group is the only international initiative that has established a dialogue with all the Venezuelan parties.
CARICOM's action on Venezuela, relations with the United States, and issues surrounding the United Kingdom's exit from the European Union are up for discussions when CARICOM foreign ministers meet next week in St. George's, Grenada. The 22nd meeting of the Council for Foreign and Community Relations, which runs from May 13th to 14th, will be chaired by Grenada's Foreign Minister Peter David, who will assume the chairmanship from outgoing chair of COFCOR, Bahamas Foreign Minister Darren Henfield. Foreign ministers will receive an update on CARICOM's relations with the European Union in relation to the post-Cotonou talks. They will discuss relations with multilateral organizations, including the Commonwealth and the United Nations. Space has been carved out for interactions with representatives of Mexico and Ireland, as well as discussions on border issues relating to Belize and Guatemala, and Guyana and Venezuela.
COTED's work to reposition the rum industry came in for high praise from the chairman of the West Indies Rum and Spirit Producers Association and the head of the Demerara Distillers Conglomerate, Mr. Komal Samaru. The Council for Trade and Economic Development, at its recently concluded meeting in Georgetown, Guyana, adopted recommendations aimed at improving the competitiveness of the region's rum industry on the global market. Trade ministers reviewed the recommendations of a working group chaired by former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Guyana, the Honorable Carl Greenidge. The group addressed the constraints facing the industry as producers seek to take advantage of the international market. The recommendations included actions that spawned international trade strategies to improve linkages between the agriculture and tourism industries.
As regional governments rallied to ensure the sustainability of LIAT, Grenada became the latest major shareholder government, joining Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The announcement was made by Grenada's Minister for CARICOM Affairs, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing. He said the decision arose from an awareness of the vital role the regional airline plays in the socio-economic development of the island.
Grenada is now the 5th shareholder in the airline. So together with the governments of Barbados, Antigua, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada at that meeting is now accepted as the 5th main shareholder in LIAT. What that means, it means that the government, cabinet has taken a decision to continue to support LIAT. When we look at the figures from the number of passengers that LIAT brings to Grenada, of course the multiplier effect is great. LIAT brings in thousands of visitors to Grenada every year. And therefore, from an economic and social point of view, Grenada had to support LIAT.
CARICOM member states and the European Union have lauded the historic and valued relationship between the region and Europe as they marked Europe Day on Thursday, May 9th, 2019. The European Union remains the single largest source of grant financing to the Caribbean, with a recent allocation of more than 1 billion euros. In a ceremony to mark Europe Day on Tuesday, President of Guyana, His Excellency David Granger, said Guyana attached the highest priority to its relations with the EU, which he said was a valued partner in human and economic development, particularly for small developing states. Federica Mogherini, High Representative of the Union of Foreign and Security Policy, said the potential for integration between the two regions was infinite. She said that compared to a decade ago, European investments in Latin America and the Caribbean had more than doubled. CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque said the highly valued relationship with the European Union had contributed significantly to the integration arrangement and to the development of member states. The cricket fraternity is mourning the passing of legendary former West Indies batsman Seymour Nurse. The Barbadian, who played 29 tests between 1960 and 1969, died on Monday, 6th May at the age of 85. A flood of tributes in the wake of his passing lauded Nurse as a dedicated cricketer and a fine all-round sportsman.
You can find the details of these and other stories on the CARICOM Secretariat's news blog, today.caricom.org.
Visit the CARICOM website, www.caricom.org.
Like our Facebook page.
Follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
See you next time.